Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey, I'm Scott, and this is Church is Lame, the podcast where we try to fix the church by talking about the stupid things churches do that break the body. Mark, what have you found for us today?
I found something weird, I guess. I mean, it would seem normal in another context.
Hmm.
But it's there's this YouTube channel called Dude Perfect, which is a collection of guys, Christian fellows.
Mm-hmm.
So good, wholesome Christian entertainment. Um, and I guess by wholesome I mean like probably mindless YouTube drivel, like what we do.
Right.
But I guess like they're talking about the possibility of building like this $100 million entertainment facility. At least, that's what Relevant Magazine calls it that in their article.
Mm.
And like my biggest question is, what? I mean, like, am I just goofy? Like, I mean, because it seems to me like an entertainment facility is not a thing that like if you're trying to make a Christian impact in the world, doesn't seem like an important thing.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because when you just said that, it popped into my mind that, I mean, you could conceivably, depending on who you are, consider, Joel Osteen's church an entertainment facility. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we need to bring in the words of the great prophet Obi-Wan Kenobi, and many of the truths that we cling to are going to depend on a point of view, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, perfect. I watched your channel. I think it's fun. Like, watching all the trick shots, and all that kind of stuff. It's cool and it's entertaining. But like you said, it seems like on as far as I can tell, they're a bunch of stand-up guys. They're cool guys who are Christians, who are, as most capitalists in America are doing, trying to grow a business. You know, so
Yeah,
on
and
the
that's the part that bugs me, right?
why?
Because it's like, it seems like they want to do nothing else because like, the teat of capitalism is so firmly shoved into their mouths that they can't actually speak the word. It's like why do you need a facility where children can come in and do trick shots? Like it's cool for your channel, but like your channel is kind of drivel. I know because I watch these kinds of things. They're
Yeah,
immensely entertaining.
yeah.
You know, I'm more of a fan of of how ridiculous more than dude perfect. But it's like it's the principle of the thing. It's just it's nothing more than just a money grab. And like we complain endlessly on this podcast about churches making money grabs. So I'm not sure like am I wrong to hold these dudes up to the same standard?
I'm like, I don't know that I would say you're wrong. I would say that I think it's hard to expect people who've lived their whole lives under capitalist propaganda not to be capitalists. You know what I mean? Like here we have once again Joel Osteen, we have Creflo Dollar, we have
Hmm.
name the prosperity gospel person of the week. They're doing capitalism. They're just doing it in the name of Jesus. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I think about the amount of times you and I have talked about like doing your ministry and doing it in secret, like, well, I look at Dude Perfect and I'm like, well, I'm not sure that they're a bad example of this. They go on YouTube, they make these fun videos that people like to watch. It's
Hmm.
clean entertainment. It's something you can watch as a family. Every now and then they go a little bit overboard with what they consider to be practical jokes, right?
Of course.
But
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, some of them, in my opinion, have been over the top, but nothing crazy, right? And so, yes, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, these guys already make millions of dollars between their YouTube channel and their brand deals and their
Hmm.
merchandise and all that stuff. Like, so I think that you can accuse them of kind of like, when is enough enough? Like,
Right.
what is your priority system when at the end of this money making machine your next goal is the next money making machine? Like, when do you elevate your aspirations to something else? And
And it
so I
seems like they have an opportunity to do that with
right,
this because like if you can get the funding to make like this $100 million entertainment facility,
right,
um, like you should be able to do church planning
right.
or or helping churches stay open that might close because of like the troubles that they've had in COVID. I mean, so like my big question is like what in this facility is going to honor God? Because I mean, if your God is money, then sure, like it's going to honor your God.
Right.
But like legitimately as a Christian, like what is this facility going to do for God's kingdom?
Yeah. I understand that part of it. I just feel bad because if they did come out and say, "Hey, we're Dude Perfect. We're killing it on YouTube. We're making a ton of money, and we are going to start whatever a food pantry, a thing." Like
Hmm.
you and I would nail them for taking advantage of their public platform to do ministry. You know what I mean? So I feel like they can't. They're in a position where they can't win either way. Is kind of what I'm feeling a little bit of sympathy for them that way.
I can
Um,
get that.
you know, and so it's hard for me to nail them against the cross too hard because I think because they are stand-up guys, there's probably a good chance that some of the revenue in this probably will go to things that you and I find important, you know?
Yeah, I would
Eh,
expect some amount of that
yeah,
to definitely be true.
right.
But then like for me, another aspect of a facility like
Yeah,
this is like big facilities are usually made with lots of weird deals cut
right.
for things like tax cuts. So
Yep.
like, you know, like they'll skirt their social responsibility there.
Yeah.
A lot of times these facilities are built in areas that are um, already where people live.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people's homes will be eminent domain so they can build a facility like this. A lot of times it's not even people that own homes, it's the homeless.
Yeah.
And so homeless people are often shoved out of where they're living just for new facilities like this. And so I don't, I guess I'm troubled. I'm concerned about whether or not these guys are really taking in consideration all those things as well.
Of course they're not. Like, you know, you can't fault a human for being human, and there's only so many things you can hold in your brain at one time, right? And
Mhm.
so these guys are dreaming in real time, and the next step in their dream is this big thing that they want to see come to fruition. And so the question is who's there to push back and say, hey,
Mhm.
the state wants this, the county wants this, we want the tax revenue, but we also want to make sure that the people who are going to be harmed by this, and there are going to people who their words is hard, and there are going to be people who are going to be harmed by this. What do we do to make sure that harm is mitigated somehow?
Yeah, and I'm really
Yeah,
hoping that like, that they learn from the whole Brett Favre thing, right?
yeah. Oh
Like
gosh,
because there's a risk of that happening and I really hope that these guys avoid that in this process. I mean, they're still in like the thinking phase, like the dreaming phase.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
um but yeah, like because that's a concern too that like, that wherever they decide to build it, whether it's in Texas or some other state, like somebody might divert public funds that are supposed to go helping people to
right,
doing this thing. So like, I mean, hopefully they'll be active in that and not like Brett Favre who actively stole money from poor people.
right. And I think that's going to be the most interesting part of this to watch evolve.
Hmm.
Like in their YouTube videos, they don't advertise their Christian values and the fact that they are Christians, but
Yeah.
everywhere else they seem to. Their website makes it a point. They never turn down interviews from Christian media outlets. So they do, to some extent, wear their Christianity on their sleeve. So it'll be interesting to see how they apply it.
Yeah. And I'm really hoping that like they can keep their eyes on the prize and really, make this not about, just being merely an entertainment facility or maybe like scale their plans down and do something else, but like really make it a point of this facility to generate funds to do God's work
That would
and
be
not
phenomenal. Yeah,
merely to line their own pocket. In fact, like this, they don't need anything to line their pockets with.
you're right. Yeah, I agree. I think you said it really well. I think that could possibly be a cool thing, or this possibly could be laden a minefield to walk through.
Yeah. And, I'm sure other people have their opinions of this as well. And I look forward to them harassing us wherever they can harass us.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're watching this online on YouTube, by all means, drop us a comment, hit the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. For you listening to the podcast, leave us a rating. I promised I wouldn't do this, but it seems like it's part of our shtick now. Or send us an email, churcheslanepodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.